Hello, welcome back to Sabi channel. Yeah, it's nice to have you here again. So, today we'll be delving into the operating expenses of Guinea Insurance PLC from 2020 to 2023, pardon me. So, the operating expenses is actually commonly, well, in most cases is referred to as expenses that are unavoidable by the company, that the company has to incur to ensure the smooth running of its day-to-day activities. So, and in most cases also, operating expenses only covers sales and administrative expenses of a particular business. Well, and also Guinea Insurance PLC is an age-old firm. Insurance and PLC is an age-old firm that has been in existence since as far back as 1948. So it's I think it's a big name in the insurance industry. So we are observing the operating expenses, how it has moved from 2020 to 2023. So with a quick glance, we can see that it's actually taken, although this is not a line chart, it's a stack bar chart, but then we can see from a glance that the expenses actually increased over the space of 5 years. So real quick, let's take a glance at the data sets first. So here, data set, we have here the administrative expenses. That's too close. We have the administrative expenses, we have the staff costs, we have depreciation and amortization, we have legal and professional fees, rental and rates, and then we have auditors remuneration. So these expenses are actually unavoidable. So we will know that, okay, administrative expenses, now these administrative expenses we see here is it has other factors, or like other subsection or sub expenses under it, and I'll take us to that area to see later. So the administrative expenses have other sub expenses under it, a whole lot of them in the financial statement of this company. And then if we observe all these things very well, we'll see that the company can actually not put these things off at all. So they have to be in place. The administrative expenses have to be in place. I'll take us to see a list of them. Then the staff costs too. So this is talking about the money they pay the staff for their work, maybe their monthly salary, their allowance, and other benefits. So this cannot be omitted. This is an obligation every month, so it's unavoidable. Then depreciation and amortizations, yes, definitely there are some goods that they have bought, maybe some machineries and equipment that they bought that would depreciate over the years. That's also unavoidable. Then legal and professional fees, they have to pay their legal practitioners. Then rent and rates, yes, obviously they will have to pay for the space or the office that they rented. That's not negotiable. Then auditors remuneration, we know that they have to audit the organization maybe per month or per year or whenever they deem it fit. So we could see here that For the first 3 years, the auditor's remuneration was the same. It was the same until 2023, when it increased by 2,139. So we could see that there was an increase there in 2023, while the previous 3 years were the same. So now all these amounts of money are actually in thousand naira. They're actually in thousands. So this will be the administrative expenses for 2023 will be 352 million, while the administrative expenses for 2020 will be 318 million. So let's take that into consideration. So moving forward, if we take a look at the legend, we'll see that the administrative expenses is represented in blue. The staff cost is represented in orange. The depreciation and amortization is represented with gray. The legal and professional fees represented with yellow. The rent and rates is represented with green, and the author's remuneration is represented with black. So if we take a closer look at the stack bar charts, you will see that the auditor's remuneration is very slim here at the top, which is black. So, and we could see that the consistency is obvious. For the first 3 years, it was the same, and it's actually obvious here on the charts. And then I think what cost them money the most, as the chart reviewed, is the staff cost. The staff cost actually cost them so much. So these administrative expenses that I mentioned earlier, that it has so many other sub expenses under it. So let me just take us through the company's financial statement, so we have a glance of what it looks like. So here we have the company's financial statement. Let me give a closer zoom so you will get a closer view. Okay, let me give a more closer zoom. All right, I think this is close enough now. So sorry about that. So we could see here the administrative expenses. You will see that under it we have the office maintenance, car petrol and diesel. We have car repairs and maintenance. We have book periods. So all these are under the administrative expenses, and we could see their attached price here. And we also notice that the prices are in thousands. So this is for 2023, and if we look forward, we'll see the one for 2022, and the price are also in thousands. So the list actually goes down. But then it was total. So the total is what was extracted and used for this analysis. So we could see other office expenses, we could see entertainment expenses, we could see ICT expenses, we could see advertising expenses, we could see tax consultancy expenses, we could see VAT, insurance, stamp duty, fine and penalties. So we could see that administrative costs carried a whole lot of sub expenses under itself. So to recap, the operating expenses is actually the unavoidable expenses that the company actually incurs. So the company cannot run away from these things, although you can adopt measures to see a way to reduce, maybe by negotiating and reducing the cost of these things. But then there are these things that the company has to deal with. So giving a clearer explanation. So this is actually the cost that is required for the day-to-day functioning of a business. So these expenses are essential for maintaining operations and are incurred regardless of the company's revenue or its profits. So, and under this we have salary and wages. We can have rent and utilities, office supplies, and a whole lot more, just as we saw under the administrative expenses. There are so many other things attached, so that's just a summary. There are also travel and entertainment, depreciation, legal and professional fees, which is also there, tax and licenses and all that. So, and some of the importance of operating expenses is cost management. So if we are able to understand the management of this, it is understanding the management of operating expenses is crucial for maintaining profitability. So effective cost management can lead to better financial health of this particular company. It can also help in budgeting. So can help in better budgeting and accurate forecasting, and it also helps to create realistic financial plans for the company. Also, if this is well analyzed, it can help in measuring the performance. We can measure how efficient the operations of the company is. Is there a need for improvement? Is there a need for adjustments, or they are fine? So, and a company with a lower OPEX, yes, this is also called OPEX in short form. So wherever you see OPEX, you know they are talking about operation expenses. So a company with a very low operational expenses relative to its revenue is generally more efficient. So when we see a company with a low operational expenses, we say that okay, their operations are actually very efficient. So, and there are actually some ways to better manage these operational expenses for the benefit of the company. So one of the strategies to adopt in this is to reduce cost. So and this could happen if the company identifies and eliminates unnecessary expenses to reduce their overall operating expenses. So, and this might include maybe negotiating better rates with suppliers or cutting non-essential services. So for here now we have the auditor's remuneration. So this can be negotiated. We could see here in the data set that it was the auditor's remuneration was increased here from 500,000, it went to 700,000. So we could see that there was an increase there. So for this, the company can actually decide to negotiate in order to manage operational expenses. The company can decide to negotiate with the guys and say, okay, with the auditing manager, that okay, what if we give you 600,000? So in that way, this can actually be reduced. So it can also be done through process optimization. Maybe outsourcing too can help sometimes. So instead of them handling some things inside house, they can actually outsource to some other firms, to a third party that can provide them a more cost-effective service than them handling themselves. So also they can also evaluate whether okay, is it better to buy or to lease. So they can actually take out that to evaluate the cost effectiveness of leasing equipment versus purchasing them. So which one pays them? They can just carry out that analysis and make the best choices and decisions. Also, employee training is another way to reduce the operational expenses. So investing in training can improve employee productivity, leading to the use of resources and reducing waste of time. So when employees are proficient and they are well trained, so resources will not be wasted, and time will also be maximized because they are now well experienced. They know the value, and they know how to navigate through their duties and all that. So that is it's the operational expenses is a very vital metric to look at in a company. So it's very very essential for the daily running of the business, and it plays a crucial role in planning and management. So by understanding and effectively managing the operational expenses, businesses can improve their profitability and ensure sustainable operations and achieve long-term success. So it's not the operating expenses is not something to be ignored. For here now, we can see here that it's actually increasing. It can be a signal for the company. It can be a signal for the company that they need to find a way to either maybe reduce this or at least make it stable for years to come. Although we could understand that the economy can affect the operational expenses, and there's most of the time there's barely anything that they can do to control that. So most times, some of the mistake that businesses do is when there's increase in, when there's maybe economic downturn and there is inflation. What some company do is to reduce the quality or the quantity of their products. But that's a very that's not so much of a good decision to make as a business. So as a business, when things are when there's inflation, if there's anything that should be reduced, it should be the operational expenses. The operational expenses should be what is looked at and see if there's anything that can be reduced, if they are outsourcing that can reduce the expenses, if there are trainings that need to take place to reduce waste, if there are maybe evaluation to be made between buying and leasing. So the operational expenses just have to be reviewed and see the things that can be cut off. So instead of reducing the quality of the products, then you can just reduce operational efficiency, because most of the time it might not really have an effect on what you are putting on the products that you are putting out. The product's quality still remains, the product's quantity still remains, but then it's just an in-house something. Since this is something like a fixed, the operational expenses is fixed, like I mentioned before, that it's vital for the smooth running of the business. So just little adjustments can actually have a significant effect on the profitability of the company. So that's all about operating expenses for this company, Guinea Insurance PLC. So we're just taking this as a sample. So it's actually glaring, like I said before, that this increase from I think over 700, it moves to 700,000, it moved to 700 million, it moved to about almost 800 million, and then it crossed to almost 900 million, and then it hits 900 million in 2023. So we can actually predict that 2024 will be slightly higher with this trend that we are seeing. So to recap again, the administrative expenses are the blue part of the bar. The staff cost is the orange part of the bar. We could see that is what had the most what was taking most part of the company's income. You see here. So that is the staff cost, and going down like that. I think the difference between the staff cost in 2022 and 2023, there was a slight difference. Okay, if we observe, well, we'll see that the staff cost in 2022 and 2023 has been worked on. So 2022, we can see that the staff cost was more. The staff cost for 2022 was more than the staff cost for 2023. Let's see what happened in the data. How did that come about? What's the difference here? So let's check staff cost for 2022. So staff cost for 2022. Staff cost for 2022 was 407 million naira, while staff cost for 2023 was 308. So we could see there was a drop. We could see there was a drop here. Let me take a zoom in. So we could see there was a drop between the staff cost. There was a drop between the staff costs. So from 2022 to 2023 there was a little. So obviously they have made an adjustment in the operating expenses here. Probably they laid off some workers that were not delivering, or they trained some more. They trained few workers, and then they could cover for some more workers, and then they had to lay some people off. So, and that's actually added to their it actually reduced cost in this regard. So here we could see that there was an increase. Yes, from 2022 to 2023 there was an increase in depreciation and amortization. Obviously there will be, because the machineries are getting older, so it will increase over time. And legal and professional fees also increased, and the rent and rates. Okay, we could see that rent and rates dropped in 2020. From 2020 to 2023, from 2020 to 2023, we could see that the rent and rates dropped. So in 2020 it was 17,253. Now in 2022 it was 17 million in 2022. Remember, this is in thousand, so 17 million in 2022, but in 2023 it dropped to 14 million. So we could see that, like I mentioned before, it's maybe they have switched from leasing to owning their own, or they actually did. So also, if we observe very well, we will see that there was also a reduction in the administrative expenses. There was a reduction in 2020 to 2021. So we could see that in 2021 there was actually 318. You could see that they had 318 million for administrative expenses in 2022, but in 2023 I believe an adjustment has been made here that brought down the administrative expenses. So they cut costs here in 2021. So this is actually what I talked about, that these things can be adjusted to enhance the profitability of the company. Now, going back to the chart, now this operational expenses can be compared to other companies. Where we understand the significance of this is where we begin to compare the expenses amount to other companies in the same industry. So we do mistake comparing the operational expenses of one company in a particular industry to another industry. That would be might be a loop-sided comparison, and that would lead us to a wrong conclusion at the end of the day, or inference at the end of the day. So it is very, very much advisable to compare companies that are within the same industry. So if we want to know how well or how well this company is performing, or how bad they are performing, we'd have to compare the operating expenses for each year to another company to see, so several other companies in the same industry to say, okay, these people they are efficient when it comes to their operations. So these operational expenses actually gives a scan, and gives a scan. It gives a lens into how efficient a company actually is, how efficient they are in managing in their management of resources and all that. So that's that about that. So one of the most important things is to the comparison. So that's by the comparison we can okay, this company are very very efficient when it comes to their operating expenses. So for example, if you are comparing about 5 companies in the same industry, how do you know the most efficient one when it comes to using the operating expenses to measure them? So the one with the least operating expenses is the most efficient one. So that will be all for this video. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I hope to see you in my next video. And if you do like this video, please click the like icon, and do not forget to drop a comment if you have an opinion, if you have something that you want to add to this, if you have any questions or something you're not clear about, please drop it in the comment section. And also do well to like and subscribe to the channel. And then until we see you again, bye bye.